Good afternoon, everybody. We at Olive Theory strongly support this initiative of road safety.
May I ask you to take the mic?
Sure. I would also like to emphasize the importance of women's safety, which needs to be taken very seriously, and request all the concerned authorities to ensure a safe India for every woman. We should also, at our end, support this initiative in any way that we can. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And now we open the floor for questions from the media. You may please ask specific questions to whoever you need. We'll come to you. You can raise your hand if you have any questions for any of our dignitaries and guests on the dais.
Mr. Divakar, I have a question, which is when you were speaking about giving licenses to college students in the colleges, how is that? Like, what is the criteria for ensuring that they should get that license, that they know how to drive? So I mean, to just give a license to a kid who may not know how to drive, how do you know they even know how to drive? How do you implement that procedure?
So there are two steps of getting licenses: learning license and driving license, driving or a permanent license. So the first somebody applies for learning license, he has to give exam, and the rules mandate that he has to score minimum 60% in that exam. Our experience shows that up to 25 to 30% they fail in their first attempt. So it's not that somebody walks in and he gets the license so easily. He has to give that exam. It's now it's taken on computers, and randomly selected questions are thrown onto the screen which he has to answer. So everybody has to prepare something before he appears for learning license. As far as permanent license is concerned, the driving license, actual driving skills are tested on the track, and there also the passing percentage is around 70%. So he has to come afterwards, after a gap of say 1 month or so, one who is failing in that exam. And I like add one more point here. In Pune city, we have started this driving skill is tested by computer. It's not simulator. The actual the applicant actually drives on the track, and there are cameras installed who are they feed their video footage into the relevant software, and the software decides whether he is fit enough to drive or not. And we are planning to have this system at all 50 offices in Maharashtra, including 4 offices in Mumbai.
Right. My point was not about the offices or the procedure. Like when you say colleges, we're going to go give licenses in colleges.
They will
How
also
is
have
that?
to appear exam. For exam, we will be taking their exam in the colleges.
Yeah, because the idea was we're going to get rid of the dalals in the middle.
Yeah.
So technically, to go to a learning school, you'll have to go to a Tejani Motor School or whatever, and they're the ones who facilitate the process of filling in the forms and filling in everything and helping you anyway. Yeah. So then, how is it so simple that you escape the entire process by just getting a license in college? I'm not clear on that.
See, there are two issues. Going to colleges or any other place for that matter. In rural districts, we go to taluka places. We have now a software which gives appointment like you do in case of getting visa or passport. So the time slots are fixed, the person who is coming is fixed, the time is communicated to him on his mobile. So he comes on a fixed place at a fixed time. So and the issue is whether his knowledge is tested or not, that I was talking about. I was initially thinking you are asking about whether he is really fit enough to drive. That part we are going to check by taking his examination or test. And as far as this dalal or touts they are concerned, we want to have completely digital interface and no human interface. The process has already started, but you can understand the systems are so complicated. We have the database of around 3 crore drivers and 3 crore vehicles. We have to digitize it, scan it, and integrate it. But it has already started in 4 or 5 districts.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Before we move towards the Q&A, thank you, Dino, for being here. He has to leave for a prior commitment. Thank you for sparing that time with us and being here for the initiative. Let's give him a good farewell, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much, Dino Morea.
Thank you everyone.
Thank you so much. So, we are over to you. Yes, we have a question.
ट्रांसपोर्ट मिनिस्टर दिवाकर जी से और मिलिंद जी, आप दोनों से मेरा सवाल है. आपने सेफ्टी की बात की, जो लॉन्ग रूट होता है वहाँ पे सीसीटीवी नहीं है, और जो आपने कहा कि अगर डबल पार्किंग है तो यहाँ पे पार्किंग की फैसिलिटीज़ नहीं है। अगर फ़ोटोज़ क्लिक करके हम भेज भी रहे हैं, आप उन्हें पनिश कर रहे हो, बट वहाँ पे पार्किंग एरियाज़ नहीं दिए हुए। पार्किंग एरियाज़ रहेंगे तो ये प्रॉब्लम्स नहीं होंगी, ट्रैफिक्स नहीं होंगे। सड़कों की बात करें तो हर जगह गड्ढे मिलते हैं, तो क्या कहेंगे इस पर? आप दोनों से जानना चाहेंगे हम।
I am Joint Commissioner of Police Traffic for Mumbai City, so I'll confine myself to Mumbai City. Firstly, there are no long stretches of road जहाँ पर CCTV नहीं है. The whole Mumbai city is covered by more than 4,700 cameras. Secondly, about the parking issue, yes, there are parking issues. But there are certain stretches on the roads जहाँ पर parking is not allowed. There are no parking signages. जहाँ पर parking करने से it is going to cause commotion. So those are prohibited areas जहाँ पर parking नहीं होनी चाहिए. But on-street parking is norm of life. अभी since we don't have off-street parking, so on-street parking ही होती है. But then there has to be some sense how to park a vehicle. How to, I mean, whether to go perpendicular or parallel park. Perpendicular parking is a menace in the city. They have to go parallel along the footpath. That has to be parked properly in the offset. It should not cause obstruction to the main carriageway. So that's how that would be defined, and especially not at the corners, not at places where defined to be no parking. So if they are parked there, then they are obviously liable to be towed away.
जी मिलिंद जी, मेरा आपसे सवाल है। अभी पूजा जी ने हमें थैंक्स किया मीडिया को कि हम आते हैं, कवर करते हैं और लोगों तक आपकी बात पहुंचाते हैं। कल एक इवेंट हुआ था जिसमें शाहरुख खान और पूनम महाजन दोनों आए थे। उनकी सिक्योरिटी के सारे इंतजाम थे, पुलिस वहाँ पे थी, लेकिन वहीं पे मीडिया पर्सन्स को धक्का मारा गया, उनके कैमरास टूटे, रिपोर्टर्स, कैमरामैन, हर किसी को चोट आई। जो बैरिकेड्स लगे थे वो भी टूटे, लेकिन हमारी सेफ्टी का कोई इंतजाम नहीं। अगर सेलिब्रिटी की सिक्योरिटी देखते तो हमारी भी सिक्योरिटी होनी चाहिए, बिकॉज हम ही मैसेज पहुंचाते हैं। तो ये कब तक होगा? हम ऐसे ही धक्के खाते रहेंगे?
I guess I'll certainly take your point and communicate to the right authority who is dealing with that.
Thank you. Do we have any other questions?
मिलिंद सर, आपसे सवाल है मेरा। आपने जो भी बात की, कल जो शाहरुख का इवेंट हुआ था उसमें सिर्फ मीडिया को परेशानी हुई इसकी बात नहीं है। बेसिकली वहाँ पर फ्लाईओवर के ऊपर इवेंट था, वो वहाँ पे इनॉग्रेशन था, और जो नो पार्किंग एरिया था फ्लाईओवर के ऊपर कार्स पार्क की गई थी और पूरा रोड जाम हो गया था। ट्रैफिक पुलिस वहाँ पर थी, पुलिस वहाँ पे थी, गार्ड्स थे, लेकिन किसी ने कंट्रोल नहीं किया। मतलब बहुत सारी पब्लिक थी। आई डोंट नो कि मे बी 200-300-500 पीपल वर देयर। तो इस तरह से अगर सेलिब्रिटी होते हैं या फिर कोई कल्चरल कुछ ऐसा इवेंट होता है तो ट्रैफिक पुलिस नहीं कर पाती उन्हें कंट्रोल, तो उसके लिए क्या आप करेंगे?
It's a joint effort with the police station staff and the traffic staff. क्योंकि traffic strength is very minimal, having 3,000 people across the city, that too in shift, so not more than 1,000 people are available for the whole city. So traffic constables managing the crowd is quite a challenging situation. Here most of that work is taken over by the police station guys. But if there are any shortcomings in that event, we'll certainly look into that. Thank you.
Thank you.
And one more thing, what is the liaison between the BMC, for example, the Planning Commission and the traffic police? Is there a good network between these departments? Because say for example in Juhu right now there are these 4 5-star hotels coming up in that horizon where Novotel, etc. I think there are 3 big hotels coming up there. Now there'll be huge jams, huge parking issues. The roads are small, as it is, it's hard to navigate. Now when these 3 big ones come up with shopping malls, etc., etc., do you insist that there have to be parking in measure? Because say for example at Sea Princess there's a nightclub called Trilogy. It's run by my cousins. They own it. And the biggest issue is that there's no parking. And what happens is, as a result of that, who gets inconvenienced? The customer, the consumers get inconvenienced, because it's not their fault there's no parking. It's not Trilogy's fault that there's no parking. But there should have been facilities made available by the necessary departments to ensure that whenever there's a five-star hotel or shopping mall, that there are adequate parking facilities in place, because one should not exist without the other. So is there a good tandem between developers
Actually,
and police?
this planning authority is mainly with the MCGM, and certain projects are taken over by MMRDA. MCGM works on the simple principle of DC rules, the development control rules. Now, what Sea Princess you're talking of is a very old establishment, and the DC rules existing at that time, parkings are provided as per vehicle availability at that time. Now, too much of water has flown over, and almost every person coming to Triology and Sea Princess is owning a car. Obviously, those many car parks are definitely not available there. And that's where we are really looking up to this metro and other public transport systems, wherein we could facilitate movement of even the middle class and the upper middle class to use these public transports and reduce the number of vehicles on the street. So I guess with coming times, coming times means, to be precise, 3 to 4 years down the line, when the metros are functional, hundreds of kilometers, 100 plus kilometers, we can definitely see a certain change, a certain shift from car users to the public transport users. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Do we have any more questions from the media? I think that's great. And while we take these pictures, we would definitely like to thank our partners, MEP Infrastructure Developers Limited, OliveTheory.com, HDFC Ergo General Insurance, Victorinox, Mumbai Traffic Department, BBC Top Gear Magazine India. Without their support and help, this event wouldn't have been possible. We would like to thank our Honorable Transport Minister, Shri Divakar Raute, also Dr. Praveen Gidam, Transport Commissioner, Government of Maharashtra, Mr. Milind Bharambe, Joint Commissioner of Traffic Police, for their presence here. Also, thank you so much, Pooja Bedi, for taking out your time. And Mrs. Shushmita Dalmia, thank you for taking out your time and being present at this event. Thank you so much. And also thank you to all our members of press, print and broadcast. Thank you for being here and covering the event. We would like you to invite for some refreshments right outside the hall.